If Israel is to rule the world, therefore Israel has to wage big wars, like the United States did, like Britain did. And the first target of Israel's wars will have to be the Arabs, to subdue the Arabs. But in the Arab world, there is one country which is more important than all the rest. Which one is that? It's Egypt. Why Egypt? Again, it's only ilmu akhir zaman which can answer that question. In the Bible, they rewrote, they put in with their own hands in the Bible, in the Torah, that the Holy Land extends from the river of Egypt, the river Nile, to the river Euphrates. All of this is the Holy Land. That's false. When we go to the Quran and we go to the Ahadith of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, we know that this is false, but it's there. So for Dajjal to convince the Jews that he is indeed the Messiah, the state of Israel will have to extend its frontiers to encompass the biblical frontiers, the false biblical frontiers of the Holy Land. And so now we can understand why NATO is in Iraq, up to the Euphrates, occupying this territory, because Israel has to reach the Euphrates. But what about Egypt? An Egyptian sent me an email 2 weeks ago to say, Sheikh Imran, the Israeli embassy in Egypt is never located on the east bank of the river Nile. No. All the other embassies are there, but not Israel. The Israeli embassy in Cairo is always on the west bank of the river Nile. Why? Because the Jews believe that's their land. So how can they establish their embassy in their land? The territory, which is known as the Eastern Delta. In the Quran, the Eastern Delta is referred to as Misr. Today the whole of Egypt is known as Misr, but not the Quran. This Eastern Delta is where the Jews lived for a few hundred years. When Yusuf alayhi salam was taken, they took him out of the well and they sold him in Egypt. وَشَرَوْهُ بِثَمَنٍ بَخْسٍ دَرَاهِمَ مَعْدُودَ. They sold him for a few measly dirhams. And then he became minister in charge of agriculture, food production, food preservation. And then the whole of Banu Israel were brought to Egypt. And they lived in that Eastern Delta for a few hundred years. And that's why they wrote in the Torah that this is a part of the Holy Land. If Israel is to launch an attack on Egypt, to take that territory, you can't do it with only drones and helicopter gunships and missiles landing from the air. You have to launch a ground invasion to take that territory. And so now we can understand, at least this part of the Arab uprisings, that while Tunisia and Egypt were spontaneous popular uprisings, where there may have been a Zionist little hint and a push here and there to help it along, but the people rose up on their own as well against oppression.